Well, hello. Did you get what you expected? Was it all that you expected, or was it more? And by that, I mean the midterms. What did you think would happen? Well, I can tell you that everything I thought was happening was going to happen, and it did happen exactly the way that I thought. There's a couple of places that have no idea who won what. They have no idea and possibly will not until the top of next year. Why? Because, well, that's the way it was meant to go. When we look at the midterm elections, we know that a lot of the places that had folks out there, let's look at Pennsylvania for a moment. When we can see those kinds of environments and those kinds of places have the telltale signs that they did, that should tell us all that there is a greater plan. There's an even greater plan. I'm not going to say that anybody did anything special. Well, I don't want to do that because, well, we don't need that kind of trouble. But what I will tell you is that if somebody is telling you that this individual right here on the screen won hands down, even though I was not a person who was a proponent for either candidate, I have to tell you that something's not right. When I look at California and the gigantic landslide for their gubernatorial race, I have to tell you something's not right. I know too many people from that part of the world, and I honestly believe that, yeah, that happened on purpose. Oh, did you also hear that Nancy Pelosi is a close shoe-in? She's absolutely a shoe-in. She's a shoe-in. People want her, and they want her to stay right where she is. Fetterman, the gentleman out in California, the scuttlebutt going on in what is it, Arizona. Those places right there should tell us that there is a little bit of flies in the buttermilk, a lot more than a little bit. There are a lot more than a little bit of flies in the buttermilk. I don't know, you guys. I intentionally didn't say anything prior to it. Didn't say anything while it was going on. The reason why I didn't say anything while it was going on is because I knew that things would be subject to change. Um, look at Georgia. Subject to change. Things are subject to change. You know, um, th- th- I'm sitting here absolutely gobsmacked because what I thought was going to happen absolutely did. That they were going to wait and that you were going to hear, oh, well, we'll have to do it at this period, or we'll have to do it on that period, or we'll give you the numbers on this date. I mean, you had better elections back in the 1800s, for the love of Pete. There were some very contentious elections in the 1800s that had an even faster turnout than what they're expecting. With a country that is as full of technology, some of the technology leaders in the world are here in the United States, and this is what we end up with. Arizona being held up, Pennsylvania getting that guy, and us hearing that the world that we know of here in the States absolutely adores, especially California, absolutely adores Pelosi, regardless of anything that they may want to have her removed for. Let's get into this. Let's just get into this. I want to tell you, as usual, I didn't read this beforehand. This may be a pretty good piece. I don't know, but let's just read it. I read it with you. All right. I read it with you. How Pennsylvania landed another Dem senator. Pardon me. Freudian slip. Democrats scoured one of their biggest wins, or scored, excuse me, one of their biggest wins. I sound like him now. Scored one of their biggest wins hours into Tuesday midterms as Democrat John Fetterman prevailed in the Pennsylvania Senate race against Republican Mehmet Oz. Now, let me just say this. I'm not an Oz fan. I'm none of them. I'm not, because I saw Oz as a pawn. I mean, to me he's just a fluffy Democrat. Anytime you've been on TV, anytime you've gotten yourself the stamp of approval from Oprah, that tells me who you are. But the point that I'm making when I stop and break in here is that this cat's a doctor. And he did have some common sense. I mean, there were things that he did talk about when he had a show that I did like. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, so he had some good sense. My point, you're telling me this guy beat out a doctor? You're telling me that the people in Pennsylvania are just so desperate for change on that side that they just got to have this guy. This is the one they want. This is the one they need. I continue with the seat was seen as one of Democrats' best pickup opportunities, putting them closer to keeping their majority in the upper chamber, the upper room. Members of the party attribute Fetterman's success to a GOP primary that left Oz bruised before Republicans began coalescing, thank you, around the candidate later, and the Democrats' approach to campaigning in both rural and urban areas. Quote, he campaigned in places Democrats typically don't. You guys, this is totally my perspective. So we're going to go in and out from me reading what they write and me interjecting here with the narrator's note. Rest my sister's soul. Okay. So just be prepared. I will be going in and out. And as I go in and out, I want to say, wait a minute. So he campaigned in places that the Democrats normally don't. Why don't they? Well, they don't because they're generally people who are on the right, maybe Republican, people who are really, possibly very free thinkers. They're just free thinkers in that area. So you mean to tell me that those free-thinking Republicans, maybe in those areas, decided we don't want somebody who can conjugate a verb? Give us Fetterman. Give us Fetterman. Or don't give us anybody. We're standing up right now. We're letting you know. This cat came all the way out here where we are to see us. And doggone it, we like him. Give us more. So, here's a quote that says he campaigned in places Democrats typically don't. T.J. Rooney, a former chairman of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party and a Democratic operative, told Al, you combine his reduction of the margins and his work in the collar counties. It was a combination of those two things that makes the difference. Republicans also conceded that candidate quality matters. Really? Does it matter? Familiar words that Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky, echoed earlier this year as several GOP candidates in battleground states struggled with negative headlines or scandals. Quote, I kind of misread the election. I thought this was about issues, but it was more about personalities, close quote. This comes from Rob Gleason, a former chairman of the Republican Party of Pennsylvania. He says candidates matter. They really matter. Issues will never override candidates. Now, this right here, whoo, baby. They really thought they were going to have a real fun time with this one here. And I truly, honestly believe that this right here is going to be a bigger mess than we thought. Now, they finally got rid of Homegirl. Okay. They finally got back, got done with the middle linebacker. She's gone. She's no longer around. I wouldn't be surprised if they came up with some type of scandal to try to push her in because they really want this place. They really wanted to make its decision, which is Georgia, to just go on ahead and straight up become red. They want it to be blue, They don't want it to be purple. They don't want it to be red. They want it to be all blue. That's what they truly want. Now, if you haven't noticed just recently, they have also a load, and by they I mean Atlanta, Georgia, has a load of crimes that are now being committed in the city of DeKalb County. So DeKalb County is ratcheting up the crime. Where it's coming from, I don't know. Having lived there as many years as I did, I would have to say that there's some of this stuff has to be injected. So much so that they're now comparing it, as we showed a while ago. We showed the graphs that showed between the, I think it's Chicago. Yeah, they were showing the numbers for Chicago as well as Atlanta. And they were showing that per 100,000 people, except for a couple of crimes, Atlanta was beating out Chicago. So it appears that the same way they injected things that happened there in Chicago in tandem with their regular crime they were having, they injected other stuff. So back in 2011, 2012, things were going chaos. Well, this is right now that time period for Atlanta, Georgia. It looks like they're attempting to create another place that has this type of activity on the map to me as I look at it. Okay. So my question is, and this, I can't help but be a little cynical because, people have heard me say I stopped voting for the national stuff. And I only deal with, if I'm going to vote, I'm going to deal with the things that are going on, um, locally, like the mayor's race and the folks, here locally that I can vet as best I can. But do you feel somewhere along the line that none of this stuff is really worth it anymore? Remember back when we all first learned how to vote, okay? When we first became 18, we could go out and vote, and we were really excited about being able to have a voice. For those of us who studied well in high school, we learned, and in college, we learned that we needed to study all the facts when we were looking to vote for somebody, right? But in this case, the reason why I stopped, and I had a lot of people that was upset with me, but the reason why I stopped was because after I saw what happened with the T-Man, Mr. Naranga, orange guy, I said, no, I'm good. Because it doesn't matter which direction I'm voting when I vote up that high. These cats are going to put in who they want to put in. They're going to do whatever they want to do. And that's exactly what my sentiment is now today. When I look at this race with this guy, see, what they did is they released all the bad information they already knew about him and then embellished a little. And by him, I mean Herschel Walker. Coming right toward the gate, they wanted to make it look as skewed as they possibly could so that the people who would definitely still vote for him would not be able to withstand all the smut that they were throwing, and they would just definitely just give up or go down there and vote for the other cat that was not him. Okay, not this Reverend Warnock, kick him out. Remember, he had the big kick him out scandal. So what they try to do is make enough scandal about this man here, Herschel Walker, so that when they did go in and tamper with things for this man right here, Warnock, there would be no question. There would be no question at all. That's what this is. That's the reason why they did it. That's the reason why after it happened, you found a lot of the people who were on the news saying, well, we don't, the Democrats, they don't have anything to do with any of this stuff. They have nothing to do with any of this. They didn't do this. He did this by, being a hypocrite. Herschel Walker did it by being, that was the whole conversation when we already know who released the information. And then they hit back and released the information with regards to him putting people out of the housing that his church had set up. I don't know why that shocked anybody. I don't know why that shocked anyone at all. He did it. Now, if you're looking at Georgia and feeling a sense of deja vu, you're not the only one. Georgia's Senate race between Senator Raphael Warnock and Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker is going into overtime after neither one was able to clinch at least half of the votes in the midterms, meaning a December 6th runoff will take place. Quote, I think we're going to be looking at the most expensive Senate race in the country once this is all done, all said and done. One of the Republican strategists who has worked on races in Georgia told our Max Greenwood, that's the author of this piece, the company that wrote this piece. They said our Max Greenwood. And it continues with, there's just too much to lose on both sides. But what's less clear is if Democrats and Republicans will already know which side will have a clear majority in the Senate going into the runoff, or if Georgia will be the deciding factor once again. Democrats and Republicans are feeling cautiously optimistic that Nevada's Senate race could turn their way, which could make such a scenario more likely. So here are some key races that have yet to be called. Arizona, that's for the Senate. The House, Colorado, California, 24-47, Oregon, 4-5, and 6. Washington, these are the areas, 8. Now, the governor's race in Arizona. Now, that is a trip that we are to believe that the people of Nevada are so schizophrenic that no one can make a clear and decisive decision. Now, another thing, Here's the deal. If you remember, like I remember, you remember hearing a lot of stuff dealing with the last major races, the major race with Mr. Naranga and the guy that's up there now in the White House feigning to be the president. At the time, hey Sandy, at the time, do you remember them saying, oh, well, we found that there was tampering there in Arizona. Oh, no, there was no tampering. Oh, yes, we found it. Oh, no, we didn't find it. Oh, yes, we have it. Now it's all confirmed. Oh, no, it's not confirmed. There has been so much trash thrown into the lane where Arizona is involved that you really honestly do not know what to believe as it relates to the 2020 election. Now you've got the governors of Arizona up in the air, and you've got Senate seats for Arizona up in the air. Don't you know what's going to happen? You've never heard anybody take this long to count votes. You've never heard anybody. These things are not what our country normally dealt with. We normally did not deal with that kind of stuff. What's going to happen is that stuff's going to slide, because in a few weeks, everybody's going to forget about it. It's going to be like, oh, oops, we're done counting. Here you go. Here's your new Democrat. Why? Because now that the barbarians have come inside the gate and done what they're doing, they're going to keep going. And it's all two sides on one coin. Yes, we do know that. But now that we have what's going on, it's going to continue. The cancer will spread. Because there is definitely a plan to do some things that maybe folks do or don't agree with. The whole climate deal, all this stuff. These things are going to begin to tumble here in a minute. Okay? So when we look at all this stuff, now you can see why you got people like Brian over there on, I'm not even going to say the name of his channel, but you know who I'm talking about for you guys who are in the know. He says, why even do it? So now, do you see what I mean when I say I'm not having nothing to do with these cats? Because I belong to one kingdom, and a kingdom is really comparable to a party or a government. Now I think we're starting to get it. Now I think we're starting to see it. It's all one. Everything is Janus. Everything is one coin, two sides. One coin, two sides. Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, to the best show in the world. All we want you to do is come on up and cast your vote. Which one of the shells has the ball under it? Guess, guess, guess. Is it this one? Is it that one? Is it this one? It's just two. Come on now. You got to guess. There, it's like the 5-card money. It's just like the 5-card money. This whole thing. There's only one kingdom. There ain't but one. And that's what these are. These are kingdoms. Governments are kingdoms. And the sad part is that a lot of times when it comes to our country, because of the way that we were raised, we truly and honestly have always equated love of country with our love of quote unquote God. Remember that? We love our country. So we've equated that with love of country, love of family, love of God, and all. And so you've got people who in droves go out and believe that this is still a part of something that's going to make their lives either easier or better, easier or harder, either one or the other. So the cat that's on the screen right now, I don't trust him as far as I could pick him up and toss him. I do not know why. I don't know this man personally, but he just reminds me of a used car salesman. And he just reminds me of a cat that they put in position and he was just going real good for a while. And then all of a sudden, he ain't that good dude no more. This cat just lets me feel like he's a dangling carrot that eventually something's going to happen and we're going to see who he really is. And at that point, I strongly believe that it's going to be too late. Why I feel like that, I have no idea, you guys. I don't know nothing. I don't know anything. I just know that there's something about him. And you guys know who's been following me for a minute. You all know that I've been feeling like that about him. But I'm just now becoming a little more bold about saying what it is that I feel in my gut, just something about him. So it says the November midterms are complicating the 2024 presidential picture for Republicans as many of former President Trump's candidates fell short in their races, while Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a widely floated 2024 GOP presidential hopeful, handily won his election against Democrat Charlie Crist. The development comes as Trump is widely anticipated to announce another bid for the White House as soon as next Tuesday. It was clear that Trump was one of the losers from Tuesday, with many of his key picks falling flat. On the other hand, President Biden, whom the White House has reiterated intends to run again in 2024, was seen as a winner over the better than expected Democratic performance. This is all a joke. Those of us who are thinkers and think clearly with our minds and know that something ain't right, you're not tripping. You may have family members or people that tell you that you're tripping or that you're wrong or that there's nothing wrong. I'm telling you right now, all of this stuff, it's just like buying a ticket to go into the show. Just go see the show. Step right up. So it goes on to say that in the days that followed the midterms, Republicans felt more comfortable publicly criticizing Trump in public and openly suggesting that DeSantis announce a bid soon for president. One prime example was a cover of the New York Post Wednesday issue, which depicted the former president as Humpty Dumpty. Does anybody remember him being pictured as Humpty Dumpty? Was that on the cover of The Economist? Let me look that up. Was that the cover of The Economist? Let me see. I think that was him looking like Trump. Was it that or was it the Illuminati cards? Here it is. Yeah, they had him as Humpty Dumpty on several things. I don't know. I'll have to look that up and see if I can dig in any further without belaboring your time. But it says, which depicted the former president as Humpty Dumpty, while the Florida governor has dodged questions about whether he'll run, most notably during the gubernatorial debate when Chris poignantly asked him if he would serve his full term in office if re-election. It's clear that his win in the Sunshine State and Trump's troubles in the midterms could force a decision sooner. That comes from Brett Samuels, who writes, while the Republican strategist told Brett that DeSantis must run, others, however, believe he's not the only possible contender in town. Quote, I would say that it's not just as simple as to say, now it clearly is DeSantis. Doug Healy, a former Republican National Committee spokesperson, told Brett, quote, DeSantis had a great night, no doubt about it. So did Ohio Governor Mike DeWine. This should give any Republican who's looking at 2024 a reason to very seriously consider jumping in. Here's what I think will happen, since we just have to talk about it because it's just too transparent. You know what I'm saying? It's just too see-through for us not to talk about it. Even though a lot of us don't get down with any of this stuff, the deal is it's too transparent. It's just too see-through for us not to discuss this. What I think they're going to do is they're going to have the water so muddy that it's going to make the way clear for somebody to come in and push him out of the way. And I think he is a willing participant in this whole thing, as we've all come to the knowledge that he is. Okay? He's the reason for the season. He's part and parcel of the problem. I would never have said that back in 2016 when I was, just beating the drum for him, just beating the drum for him. I would have never said that. I would have never thought that. You know what I mean? Because to me, they put him up against somebody that would make us say, please vote for this man. So now that we see that everything has been an actual, I don't want to use certain terms, but everything has been set out like a birthday cake. recipe. There's a recipe. First you add this, then you add this, then you add that, stick it in at 350, and you end up with this. Put it in at, 350, now you got that. That's how you plan to make a cake. This whole thing has been the cake. This is the cake, and the cake is going to get more salty and more salty as it sits. We ain't seen nothing yet. This is the greatest show on earth. This is that. Most assuredly, it is. And it's a very, very, very unsettling time. It really is. It really is. Let's see. Let's say hello to some folks. Hello, everybody. Hello to everybody. Let me just do it that way. Hello to everybody. All of my mods, hello. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody, thank you. I see Black Spring with Autumn is in the house. Hey, sis, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Hal, hi. Alan Davis, hello to everyone. So here's the skinny. When we're considering exactly what's going to happen, keep your eye open, because I'm going to tell you right now that it's going to really, really trip you out. Georgia is really what's going to trip you out. Georgia's going to trip you out. I think what they did is had a little backroom meeting. All right, you go ahead on and give us, keep the governor that's in, but let's just let us play a little bit with Herschel Walker and Warnock. Let us play with these two. Just let us play with them. WCMW and Fab, hey. Okay? Let us just play around with them a little bit until we can get where we want to go. Georgia's going to be a dangerous blue place in a minute. I had a friend who was having her annual meetings out there, and she had about 2 of them. She used to have them out in California. She decided to have the next business meeting out there in Georgia. She had it for 2 years and decided after the last run that they went out there with all the crime that was going on, she had had enough. So now she's back in Los Angeles. Go figure. Go and figure. That you go from, Atlanta there. They're turning it into this. And I say they're turning it in because you know what? There's a lot of stuff that's going on, and it's in one county, man. It's DeKalb. All of the stuff that I've been reading just recently is DeKalb County. This is going to be the most unbelievable third world country that we've ever seen. It's going to be rich in so many different vital things, but yet sold out to so many other countries. Sold out to, here we are beating the drum about electricity, using electrical things. And the biggest owner, the most recent one, Canada, owned mines here, are now selling the mines to China. You see? That kind of stuff. There are so many things that while we're paying attention to all this other stuff, let me look up some of my information here to pull it up for you guys so that I can share with you what I'm talking about. But there's so many things that are going on while we're looking at other stuff, from the Kanye West of it all to everything, right? To where we have no clue what's really shaking. We don't have any clue to what's really, really going down. Did you guys see just recently all of the new recalls? Well, if you didn't, come back here 6:00 tonight, because we're going to talk about it. If it's not, if you see it at 6:00, it'll be 6:00 Central. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, because we've got to keep on those. Why? Because that's the stuff that's in your house. It's in your grocery cart. It's in your trunk, toting it to the house from the store. We've got to talk about that. There's a lot of things that we need to discuss. Because while we're being distracted, there are a bevy of things that are going on that you need to know about. We need to know about it. You remember what we talked about the other day when we discussed how they were going to make these rules for the individuals who had, for the individuals who were homeless. And they said, well, here's what we're doing in the state of California. We are going to make sure that these folks get some mental health help. HR 4545. HR 4545. HR 4545 was introduced July 20th of 2021, and it's been sitting. It's been sitting. I submit that it's been sitting because it's waiting for other components on a national level to come to fruition. What am I saying? I'll tell you. That while we're looking at all the stuff that's going on, they are sliding other things in. We already know that if they decide to do things the way that they want to do with the two-party system, you're going to have Warnock in Georgia. That's all that, it could definitely happen. It could definitely happen. Because listen, Herschel Walker was not a very strong candidate in the first place. Nice guy, I'm sure. Heart in the right place, I'm sure. But if they really wanted to get the gig done, they would have pulled a cat who was serious about the country, who was serious about the state of Georgia, who was seriously in this thing and unpurchasable, right? But you pull him out and they got to roll with him. And it's so sad because the people who are looking at this type of stuff are saying, well, gee whiz, this is all we got? Yeah. But you got those two things that I just mentioned that are sitting. And if you follow me with what I'm saying, we're not paying attention to this because we're paying attention to the two black cats out in Georgia, as somebody just said. How Georgia is going to make black men look bad. Two men who were less than nice to their former wives. T-Man is supporting Herschel and Obama is supporting Warnock. Check out Atlanta's police chief, Ahau says. But that's exactly what they're doing. They're pushing them and pitting them together, and they're not even qualified. Neither one of them are qualified. Living Missouri's outdoors. Hey, we don't have two parties anymore, reads Sandy Aaron. Not red, not blue, but purple all over. Not to mention the fact that some of the places up top, north of me, where I am here in Alabama, where we are, Sandy, they were putting in people in under the Republican name that were originally Democrat that switched to Republicans to vote to run in certain areas. So it's all one big mishmash. It's all one big mishmash. And I really tell you guys, I really just want to bring you guys from now on. I just want to bring you guys headlines that have something to do with your household, something to do with how you are taking care of your family. Bring you information like I love to talk about the recalls because, again, I believe it affects everybody who goes to the store. I like that kind of stuff. That's the kind of headlines I like to talk about now. Why? Because this right here is so contrived. It's so contrived. It's so planned. Hal said, plan. That's right. I don't want to even deal with this stuff anymore. Why? Because I already know. We already knew. None of us were surprised. I just glanced in. I didn't even say anything when they first got the first information that hit. Hey, Betty, when they first got the information that hit, I let that go because I already knew that's subject to change. And then when I saw what was going on in Georgia between Kemp and between Abrams, I let that ride because I knew that's subject to change. Nothing is concrete anymore. Nothing. And I beg to, I venture to say that even when we were little kids and we thought stuff was going the right way, when our parents would sit up on election night or whatever, there was still some shenanigans going on there. Anytime you've got people that are involved, there's going to be shenanigans. There's got to be shenanigans. But this right here is just outright blatant. We don't care what you think. But what I say is thank you for showing us. Thank you for showing us what you really got going on, because it just validates our point with that check we had in our gut that something wasn't right. Well, this just tells us that we were accurate. Something ain't right, and it's all good. I want to get into this next story that was sent to me by a subscriber, and she never gave me permission to use her name, but I'm gonna talk about it here for the second half of this hour, because it is important. It is very important. I'm going to pull it from over. Gee whiz, you guys, let me know if I'm still 5x5 because I'm going to have to go on the um, Microsoft Edge tab to pull it. If it's not, I'm going to come down and I'll come right back up. All right. So please just let me know. All right. So we're going to look at the freedom and right to emancipate from exploitation, or the FREE Act. Does anybody have the time to tell me if I'm still 5x5 when I go to that other side? Tell me if I'm 5x5 while on the other side. I was just reading from over there. I am, Marty? Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to give you guys that window. All right. Hopefully it'll let me show it. They get so temperamental in their arguments sometimes between these two companies. Now tell me, can you still hear me? If not, I'll come down and we'll just do it again. Okay. So let me close the tab back on this other side here. Still good. Okay, cool beans. All right, I'm back over here. My phone is on. So and I can't see you. So if you see that things are sounding bad, go ahead and text me. And that'll be either Sandy or my sister Marty. Either one of you guys text me to let me know if you're losing me on this side. All right, so here is how they set this up. Okay, here's how they set this up. And then also, do you guys remember the law that we talked about so that we all have the ducks in a row? Do you remember the law that we talked about in the state of California that was dealing with the homeless people, that said that if you are homeless and you are mentally ill, they're going to sign you over basically and allow them to make changes and to help you and put you someplace? You guys remember that? But put a 1 in the chat if you remember that. While after you hit that like button, tell me if you remember that. I need to get on with this because you guys got to see this. You got to see this. This right here is what's really going on. Give me a 1 in the chat if you remember that story that we read dealing with the state of California. Okay, everybody on it. Let's go. All right, so the Guardian stole more than $500,000 from an elderly Pinellas man, deputies say. Now, what is this? I call this building the case. That's what I call this. Building the argument, building the case. For the latter part of his life, Maurice Myers lived on his own in a small home south of Sarasota, talking about Florida. Then in March of 2017, when he was 92 years old, Myers was hospitalized twice with numerous health complications. He was released to a rehabilitation facility, then moved to a senior care home in Pinellas Park. There, he'd be closer to his daughter, who oversaw his affairs. But just months later, his daughter unexpectedly died in October of 2017. Staffers at the elderly care home knew he couldn't care for himself. So they reached out to a professional guardian they knew named Tracy Hudson. Myers soon signed over his power of attorney and healthcare decisions to Hudson. In the 11 months she spent overseeing his care, Hudson swindled more than $500,000 from Myers, according to investigators, and spent it on things like jewelry and Tampa Bay Buccaneers tickets. A lengthy Pinellas County Sheriff's Office investigation ended on Thursday, as of the date of this publication, with Hudson's arrest. The 51-year-old Riverview woman faces a charge of exploitation of elderly person and is staring down court orders in dozens of court-appointed guardianship cases she oversees, demanding she explain herself. Deputies booked her into the Pinellas County Jail on that Thursday. She was released Friday after posting $250,000 in bail. She did not return calls for comment. The investigation started Monday, November 2018, with a tip from the Florida Department of Children and Families that Hudson may be exploiting a man who she knew or who she had the power of attorney over. The complaint describes this timeline. After Myers was hospitalized in 2017, he was moved into a rehabilitation facility in Sarasota, where he was diagnosed with conditions including kidney failure, hypertension, and heart disease. Myers had discharged from the rehab facility in May and moved into the Grand Villas of Pinellas Park, a senior care facility located at 8980 49th Street North at the request of his daughter, Virginia Myers. She died later that year at 61. Doctors at the Grand Villa told detectives that Myers suffered multiple falls and was showing signs of possible dementia and could no longer care for himself. Staff members knew Hudson because she acted as a guardian for others residents at the facility, and she was floated as a possible caretaker for Myers. Hudson, who previously went by Tracy Samuels, completed training and testing to become a guardian in earlier 2016, according to the complaint. She runs her own company called Florida Guardianship Services, according to the state business records, and is listed as the president of the Guardian Association of Pinellas County. Grand Villa staffers reached out to Hudson to see if she'd be willing to take on Myers, and she agreed. Myers signed documents on November 9, 2017, giving Hudson the power of attorney over his affairs and naming her as his healthcare surrogate. Her name was added to his bank accounts that same day. Unlike court-appointed guardians, power of attorney and healthcare surrogate roles don't go through the court system and are not subject to the same financial oversight. In May of 2018, Hudson moved him to Princeton Village, a memory care facility at 33, look at the address, 333 16th Avenue in southeast in Largo. That September, he was admitted to Morton Plant Hospital with a hip injury and was discharged after surgery to Wrights Healthcare, a rehab facility, then hospitalized again at Largo Medical Center in October of 2018. He was released a few days later to a hospice care and died at the age of 93 on October 9th, 2018. The investigation found that Hudson had been charging Myers $100 per hour for power of attorney services. The Department of Children and Family investigators who interviewed Myers before his death reported that he wasn't aware that Hudson was charging him that fee and that he didn't know why she had been attached to his bank accounts. She ultimately transferred $541,541 from Myers' account into two bank accounts that she controlled and a third controlled by her and her husband. The investigation said the money was moved via 46 checks that included memo lines such as caregiver refund, clothing fees, home sale, and vague references about savings and Myers' daughter. Now, this Hudson's first arrest in Florida, but she trailed by a string of complaints. She was followed by a bunch of complaints and accusations, according to the government records and news reports. Now, I'm going to leave the bulk of this story down below for you, okay? And the reason why is because now that I have laid down the foundation, I want you guys to hear about the new law, okay? That's just sitting in wait. It's not being moved upon. It's not being acted upon. It's just lying in wait. Let me copy it and put it over here so that I don't have to switch out these panes for you guys. And I'll come back over here and double check. Because I need you guys to see exactly what this is and what it isn't. All right? Now, HR 4545, the Freedom and Right to Emancipate from Exploitation Free Act. All right? Let's go. This is a trip because somebody sent it to me and I just thought it was absolutely amazing. All right. There is one version of the bill, just one. All right. But it was brought into play July 20th of 2021. And they use the particular story that we just read to craft this bill. Okay? Now, it protects the rights of legally incompetent adults who are subject of a legal guardianship or conservatorship. Please pay attention and stay focused. Okay? But it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of Congress and assembled. Here it is, Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the Freedom and Right to Emancipate from Exploitation Act. Section 2, grants to states for self-employed caseworkers and legal guardians and conservators for legally incompetent adults. In general, the Secretary may grant to eligible states in accordance with this section for the provision of the state-employed caseworkers, legal guardians, and conservators for legally incompetent adults. B, eligibility. Well, the state is eligible for a grant under this section if the Secretary determines that, one, under letter B, the state maintains an up-to-date database for all legal guardianships and conservatorships that have been established for legally competent adults under state law. 2, the state law requires a caseworker who is a state employee to be appointed for each individual who is the subject of guardianship or conservatorship, and to be empowered, notwithstanding any objection of the legal guardian or conservator, for the individual to communicate with the individual and to assist the individual in petitioning the court to replace the legal guardian or conservator, as the case may be, with a legal guardian or conservator who is such an employee. Looks like they're getting into the business, right? Number 3, the state law guarantees that notwithstanding any such guardianship or conservatorship, which an individual retains the right to communicate with such caseworker and to petition the court as described in paragraph 2. And number 4, the state law requires that any state employee referred to in paragraph 2 meet such financial disclosure requirements as the state may establish. Now there's grant amounts. 1, under the grant amounts, the amount of the grant may be made to the state under the section of the state's share of the amount made available to carry out the section. This is this is on the federal level, and it's just sitting dormant. It's sitting dormant because there are components that they're going to click like a puzzle, like one gigantic enigma. Okay? It's one big enigma at this point. When you see them one state has something, then you see this coming up, then you see Florida having that issue in Pinellas, then they drafted this because of the issue in Pinellas. There is something that they're doing. And you don't have no place to put anybody in sanitariums anymore. You don't have state-run hospitals like that on a large scale as we did once before. Whether it be for dementia, whether it be for mentally insane, whether it be for whatever it is, we don't have it. Okay? Dementia, if you got some good insurance, you're going to get a good place to be. So keep your eyes on this. For the purposes of paragraph 1, the state share is the number of legally incompetent adults in the state who are under legal guardianship or conservatorship divided by the total number of such adults in all states. The use of the grant. A state to which a grant is made under this section shall use the grant only to pay for the salaries of the state employees who are serving as caseworkers for legal guardians or conservatorships for legally incompetent adults, and to cover the related administrative expenses. Related administrative expenses. There's the ambiguity right there. There's the ambiguity. You looking for the ambiguity? There it is. Related administrative expenses. Could be a bevy of things. E, annual reports within 90 days at the end of the fiscal year in which a grant is made to a state under this section. The state shall submit to Congress a written report that specifies how the funds were used, the number of adults under legal guardianship or conservatorship in the state of, let me tell you something. I'm going to come over here and tell you guys something because I'm going to keep this up on the screen right now, but let me just break in and just give you my opinion right fast. Please, somebody let me do it. Here's what I think. What I honestly think is this is going to be the adult equivalent of Child Protective Services, when you put your child over there, the child gets taken, unfortunately, and they end up lost or missing. They end up lost, they end up missing. People do it for money. You find people that are doing this stuff for money. They're going to be moving this money because you right now don't have any place to put half the people that have these issues. This is going to be used. Hal, stay out of my mind. Sounds like the medical field will be used to declare. Yes. Yes. Right there. So I'm ranting and raving and reading it all because I need you to know that while we sit over here tripping, there's some stuff that's underway. There's some flies and some buttermilk somewhere. Charlie, I see you. There's some flies and some buttermilk. So the adults, the number of adults under the legal guardianship or conservatorship, did we even know that this was that big of a thing? The number of petitions described in subsection B2 that were submitted to the courts in the state. Really? Is that big of a deal? Excuse me, or is it just that big of a deal? Is it that big of a deal or is it just that big of money? The ratio of the number of the individuals under the legal guardianship or the conservatorship in the state during the fiscal year to the number of the state employee, legal guardians, or conservative. Just a bunch of stuff to say what? We're going to take over some stuff. We're going to go on ahead and mark you, we just going to mark you. You need us to step in. And the person that you had in your family, we're not going to let them do it. We're going to do it. The number of individuals in the state who were emancipated from a legal guardianship or conservatorship during the fiscal year. Limitations on authorizations of appropriations. Number 1, in general, for grants under this section, they're authorized to be appropriated to the secretary not more than $260 million, of which $160 million shall be for states to hire caseworkers for legally incompetent adults pursuant to this section. And another $100 million shall be for the states to hire legal guardians of or conservators for legally incompetent adults. No more is your daughter going to be doing this, I guarantee you. No more is your son going to be doing this, I guarantee you. Something's about to turn the living wills and trusts and wills for after passing, the standard wills, something about to turn all that stuff upside down. The amounts made available under the paragraph 1 are authorized to remain available until expended. Here goes some definitions. The term adult means any person who has attained 18 years of age and is not in foster care. Wait a minute. I know some of you guys be like, why is she tripping? Here's what I'm saying. This is what they not saying. This is what they said, but look what they not saying. So if you had a problem in foster care, if there was an issue for you to be held in foster care at 18 years of age, maybe you had some mental health challenges, maybe somebody had some issues and they had an executor. Maybe that person that was taking the money coming from the state was the executor. Who knows? Was the conservator? Who knows? But now, you no longer under state care. Remember I used to roll from foster care just out to homelessness? I guarantee you guys, there's going to be some stuff going on with this under the responsibility of the state. So they're going to shift you, make you go from one to another. Is that possible? I don't know. Secretary. The term secretary is the meaning of the Shana Health and Human Services. Okay, we got that. Oh, if Ronnie were here, he'd be mad for me saying Shana. 3, the state. The term means the 50 states in the United States. Okay, great. Section 3, protection of rights of legally incompetent adults who are the subject of legal guardianship or conservatorship. Do you see physical control over people? That is what I see. I see physical control over adults. If you're not reckless and you don't end up in a prison and you are more than 18, if you are more than 18 years of age and you're not in foster care any longer and you're not in the prison system, we're just dealing with people who have need of or who they have said in state of California. Remember what they're doing in California? They're having the judge decide with the judge appointing somebody in the medical field to say whether or not this person is X, Y, or Z. Then after they say, okay, yes, they are mentally incapacitated, then the judge signs off on the documents. Anybody can petition the court to do this, remember? And remember what we were able to divide out was that in order for a judge to deem the person mentally unfit, they have to first send that person to someone who has the ability to say, a mental health professional that has the ability to say this person is not healthy mentally. Remember how we had to parcel all of that out and figure it all out? And that's how we figured it out. We figured it out by saying, okay, if the judge decides that the person is not fit, they had to go through a process because the judge is not set up to do that. And since the judge isn't set up to do that, how could they do it? Well, they would have to put that person before somebody that would have the ability to say that this individual's not well. Are we seeing how all of this is meshing together? If this is just sitting, now they had it go on in California. Now New York said they were doing that and they waited. They wanted to see what was going on. California just did it, the first in the union, as they put it. The first in the United States to do it. The first in the United States to create a way for laymen to determine that a person who was just rambling or who was mentally unhealthy or who had a mental problem was not fit was California. There are other states that are now following because California set precedents. Meanwhile, this federal bill that I'm reading to you is sitting in wait. As of 2021, it's just been in a holding pattern. Once all the major states take party to what California has done, I guarantee you that's when they're going to lower the boom with this. Because this will now allow states to receive the funding for the declaration of the individuals who are not well or allegedly not healthy mentally. This will allow them to now dole out those funds to each state. That is what I'm saying. I'm doing a lot of reading and a lot of adding, but just when I boil it all down, California set the precedents. New York is next in line. Other major states are next in line. This bill is just laying in wait. It's been sitting there. This is going to be where they get the funding. That answers our question when we did the live dealing with California, saying all these individuals, and they kept using the homeless people. They're going to have people, you guys, from kids leaving the system with mental challenges. They're going to have children that are leaving the system that would normally just age out of child protected services, rolling right into these. Rolling right into them. You guys go down there. If you enjoy what we're talking about, go ahead on and make sure that you guys are hitting that little $ down there. Love on your sister. Help your sister out. If you enjoying the candor, you enjoying all the truth. Okay? You go ahead on and hit that. Hit that little $. So that is exactly what they're doing. They're figuring out a way to have people who are not necessarily prisoners as new slaves. Because we all know that slavery is legal in the capacity of an individual who's in prison. A person who is in prison legally could be considered and is considered a slave. Sure. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, whoa. It looks like Betty Truthseeker says Washington state has a law. If the family fights over inheritance, the state gets it. Do you see? Do you see how ridiculous that is? That's ridiculous. This is dealing with the human being. This is dealing with the actual human. with the actual human being. That's what this is. This is saying, hey, the money, we're going to go on ahead and tie it all up here. And as we tie up all this money right here, this is what the states are going to get. So now here it is. Here are the findings. And what I always notice is that, first of all, we've known about people that have been taking people's money even, for years and years. But they used the Pinella story. In November of 2019, the article from the Guardian stole more than $500,000. This is the story that they're using to validate it. Okay. This is the fluff piece that they use to validate why this is a necessity. All right. Because of course they got to prick your emotions. Everything is based on your emotion, how it makes you feel and how you connect with it. And what if it were me? What if it were you? What if it were Nana? So this is what they're talking about. And in August, they're going all down, just explaining. Florida profession guardian Rebecca Fleer devoted or dangerous. This is another story where she took money. It's all dealing with Florida. Okay. Financial exploitation and using the do not resuscitate orders without permission. Private guardians are at risk for financial conflicts of interest. So now they may as well go ahead and give it over to the states. And all this is going to do is open the doors for a lot of stuff. Even here, look, didn't you know that Britney Spears was being used for a purpose? Now there's your answer. Pop icon Britney Spears has unsuccessfully petitioned the judicial system to remove her father as a conservative for years. This was prior to him becoming, letting it all go. Despite the fact that Miss Spears had been successful working artist for decades and repeated a request, it's been removed. To have him removed has been denied. The 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, citizens and residents, it protects them from being deprived of liberty, of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The allegations of the Orlando Sentinel going out here talking about Spears and all this other stuff, all of these things that they're using is giving you a reason to have your heart just pricked. Okay, just pricked. So let's see. Let me read this last one before we get out of here. Petition to the record. Look, petition. Okay. 1, communicate with a caseworker referred to in section 2B2, notwithstanding any objection of the legal guardian of or conservative for the individual, and petition a court is number 2. Petition a court to replace any person who is a legal guardian of or conservative for the individual who is not an employee of the state. So they're going to just take that person who's not an employee of the state. Am I reading that right? So a person who's not an employee of the state, that's who they're looking to replace? Is that what they're saying? Yeah? Can petition the court to replace any person. As if the state don't steal. Boy. The individual and who is not an employee of the state with a legal guardian or conservative, as the case may be, who is an employee of the state, or the individual has designated and notarized documents signed by the individual to act as such, notwithstanding the terms of the guardianship or the conservatorship, as the case may be. And in proceeding on such a petition, the petitioner shall not be required to prove wrongdoing or malfeasance by the legal guardian or conservator, as the case may be, as a condition of having the petition granted. The private right of action, an individual who is subject of legal guardianship or conservatorship established under state law, may bring an action in any United States District Court to enforce any provided subsection B. The court may provide the petitioner in such action with such relief as the court deems appropriate. Thank you to the person who just sent me that Cash App. I want to tell you, I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. Thank you. If you want to support, you can send a Cash App, or you can do a super chat right here, or a super sticker. You could also become a member. That's what you can do. And that I will appreciate very much. Thank you. So that is the reason for me pulling this. The reason for me pulling this is the fact that I wanted to juxtapose all of this together. I wanted to put this together with what we read in for California last month to this. And I guarantee you that as soon as a couple of major states jump on board with the way that California is doing their gig with this, that they're going to lower this. This is right here. This right here is going to get passed. This right here is going to go through, and they're going to do it. If they don't, and when they do it, they're going to probably tie a couple more little bows and ribbons on it. I really honestly feel like that's what they're going to do. They're going to add a couple of more bows and ribbons. Yep. They're going to add a couple more bows and ribbons and tell you that it is really for you, that this is all for you. Do not worry. We got you. We got you. That's what they're going to do. I want to tell you guys that Ronnie Mann sent me some information. We were talking earlier, and we were looking at the fact that we just had that major big blood moon, that the last big moon. You remember that the other night? And now we're having all of these little meteor showers. Little meteor showers. Has anybody noticed that? You guys noticed all the meteor showers lately? Anybody? Huh. 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 What you saying, Lou? Yeah. Well, you know what I feel? I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. I've got some stuff that I wanted to bring you guys. Probably do that in another hour. Dealing with the entirety of CERN right now. There's some stuff that they've done, as well as Fermilab. And then we see all the weirdo stuff going on with all of these, meteor showers and stuff falling and looking like sky, stuff coming out the sky and all kinds of stuff, fireballs. Lots of amazing things. Lots of amazing things going on. Lots of it. Lots of it. You know what, Ahal, you be thinking. You really think. I'm telling you right now. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. But I'm glad that at least we're able to keep our eyes and our wits about us, because as things begin to change, we already knew it was happening. And isn't it amazing how the stuff that they were telling us that we were crazy about only a year or two ago, now they're all coming out admitting everything that we were saying? They're admitting it all. They're admitting all of it. Every inch of it is being talked about. Every inch of it is being talked about. And we're not crazy after all, are we? No, I don't think we're crazy. Let me show you what Ronnie was talking about. Meteor showers. Let me see it here. This one here. Fireball lights up the sky over Middle Tennessee Tuesday night. If you were outside Tuesday night around 9 p.m., you wouldn't have been able to miss it, it says. Okay, let's see. There's another one. Fireball meteor detected by satellite Tuesday night, seen in Indiana. Geostationary lightning mapper, or the GLM, has sometimes detected the light. I wonder if I'm able to pull these up the way he sent them to me. Let me check. I probably can. Hold on a second, son. Let me see what I can pull up. I want to pull these up. Let me go here and see if there's any way that I can do this and still keep it private, because he sent them to me via WhatsApp. So I want to see if I can do that. Excuse me. So we can look at this together, because it's pretty interesting, some of the stuff that he sent. Can I open this? That doesn't have his number, does it? I want to make sure it has not his phone number anywhere. Okay. Make it a little bigger. That way I'll just block out all the privacy stuff, okay? All right. There you go. Look at this. Okay. There. All right. Now you can see it. Window? Is it a window or is it a Chrome tab? No, it's a Chrome tab. It's WhatsApp. Oh, duh. Lucy. Hold on, y'all. Hold on a second. I apologize. You would have to really hang out to know what it was I just did, but it's all good. So here it is. There's the sky that you can see. This is what Ronnie sent me. See all the sky with all the stars and whatnot, right? But meteor shower known for producing bright fireballs to peak this week. A meteor shower known for producing fireballs is set to peak in Colorado. All right, this was just a day ago. This comes from Out There, Colorado. Let me see if we can find Out There, Colorado. Out There, Colorado. Yeah, that's what I mean. Out There, Colorado. I want to see if we can find. No, I'm not signing up for nothing. But what I would like to do is see the meteor showers. Meteor. Meteor. Okay. Huh. Let me make sure y'all can still see. Oh, you can see it. Cool. Oh, that's cool. You can still see there. Okay. I like it. I'm glad. Now you can see me fumbling around trying to figure out where they're what is that called? Your search button? New releases. I don't want to know any of this. Where is it? So I'm gonna be looking like a major idiot trying to figure out how to figure. Okay, let's see. Activities, podcast, store, news, adventures, galleries, features, gateway guides, things to do. Oh, there you go. What was it called again? It was called something. Let's see, meteors. Okay, there you go. Is this it? No. Meteor showers. Is this it? December 27th. Oh, let's just see if that gives us anything. No, why do you got so many meteor stories? Well, I guess because you are, Colorado. You probably see a lot of stuff. Anyway, you guys, I can't find it because I don't have a lot of time. I don't want to waste your time with me trying to fumble finger around and find it. That's the only concern I have is trying to figure it out, trying to figure out where these all are for you. So, oh, it has some dates. Meteor showers, 2021. Let's put up 2022, the last chance. Last chance we have 2022. Oh, there you go. November. There you are. Yay. I wonder how many people I lost trying to do that. How many of y'all ran off? Oh, okay. Not that many. All right, here we go. All right, so here it is. Meteor shower known for producing bright fireballs is set to peak this week in Colorado. Best seen during the early morning hours of Saturday, November 12th. According to the nsky.org, the true peak of the northern, Triudes or Taurides? I don't know how to say that. Will be out about 11 a.m. Mountain Time on November 12th. However, considering this is during daytime hours in Colorado, the best time to see the show will be before that, under the night sky. Under the night's last darkness around the constellation. Is that Taurid, like Taurus? I think that's what that is, you guys. Taurid and like Taurus. Yep, that's what that is. Right there. It'll be out about 11 a.m. All right, got it. Before you get too excited, know that only 5 meteors per hour are expected, according to the earthsky.org. On top of that, the moon will be at least 89% fullness. In other words, quite bright on the night leading into the peak, according to the almanac.com. While the moon's presence might limit the visibility, and there won't be a huge number of meteors flying across the sky, it's worth noting that the Taurids are known for producing exceptionally bright fireball meteors every 7 years, with 2022 being the 7th year of the cycle. Wow, those are significant numbers. Those are significant numbers. She's a Pete. This may make these meteors easier to see than they typically would be. So there you have it. Wake up a few hours early on Saturday when the world is still dark, and there's a chance that you'll see a fireball or 2 streak across the sky. Don't expect spotting a meteor to be a given during this celestial event, But if you end up getting lucky, you'll get to cast your wish on a star, the author says. Find this shower by locating the radiant point of the constellation Taurus in Colorado Springs. This will be above the horizon to the east, northeast. Did you guys, anybody get a chance to deal with the eclipse we had the other morning, late night, early morning? Anybody see that? Did anybody see it? Did you see it? Did you see it? Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and read some of your comments before we leave. Read some of your comments before we leave. Let's see, what do we got? Who do we have? Hey, did I see M. Leslie? Hey, M. Leslie, if you're still here, hi. L78, what has been going on with you? How have you been? Hello, Zach. Walking in Truth, good to see you. They weren't working in many places again. Man, I'm telling you, in a minute, we're going to be looking at pictures thinking that it's Cambodia and it's going to be us. It's going to be a state in one. Nothing works right? Nothing works right. Zach Diecast, hey, how are ya? New disciple, hello, how are ya? Love you, Sandy. Live in Missouri's outdoor, hey, you're still here, hey. Betty R, you're still here, hey. Of course, you know my love, my friend, my sister girl. Marty Lauderdale, hey. A. Howell, of course. Ron, how's it going with you? How's it going with you? Betty, Truth Seeker, how are you? Lady M, hello. High Plains Drifter, hello. 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 Charlie Sigler, hello. How are you if you're still here? Is this Vihar Champa? It was more fun than I thought it would have been. Oh, you're talking about the midterms. Was it what you expected? Wasn't what you expected? My pal, what a mess. You are absolutely right. The state only cares about funding. But can you imagine how much money they're going to get for this thing that we just got through talking about? That's going to be a mess. So they're lining up people to just basically make new slaves. Really, that's what I think. Because when you consider all the people that they're giving these stipends to right now, you've got states like Georgia, I think parts of New York and California, where they have that income, where they're giving people that guaranteed check. There's a lot of people they're giving like $850 a month on top of what women are already getting in Georgia, depending on what community they live in. They've closed they've closed off the dates for people to enter. But the deal is that these folks in Georgia are making an additional $850 outside of any other things, whether it be their income or any of their social programs that they may be joined with. So I just think that if you're not in one of these things, there's something's going to happen, because what's going to happen to all the people that don't have employment anymore in a minute? Just think about that. I mean, whatever your mind can imagine, these cats are going to possibly pull it out. Huh? Yeah. Washington State having the law that if a family fights over inheritance, the state gets it. So what you going to do? Fight in private? Because you know you ain't getting them cast iron pots. And I don't know who told you, but you better put them global little, my mama's global, all her little figurines, you better put them globals down. I don't know who you think you are, but you're not getting that ring. You better put that down. We're going to go out here and fight in private. We're not going to fight in public no more. No, Anthony Van Zandt, love you, my brother. Hey, Matt Allen, the love of money is the root. There you go. Is the route of all evil. That's right. You're right. Joy Trujillo, how have you been? Good to see you. Shelly M, hey. T-Man became the Speaker of the House. Became Speaker of the House. Would shake things up. Whew. You know, that lady is so protected, though. She is, isn't she? I think she is so well protected. Yep. They'll be talking about every little inch of it. Because with Lucy, all roads lead through to, technocracy. That's right. What a coinkydink. Less faith in faithful people. And a good thing, too. Yep, I agree. People The people making these rulings about our lives need their heads examined. It's a good thing we have our heads on straight. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you 110%. I do agree. The Truth Warrior, how have you been? SKSX. God bless. Good night from the UK. Hey, you too. Thank you, baby. Thank you, baby. THS 1138. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you too. All right, you guys, we've hung out long enough. We have hung out long enough. And we are all finished. So we're going to see each other more often because we're all moved in again. Everything is all done. We're all moved in. Hooray for Hollywood. But I didn't have a lot to say prior to this. I did not have a lot to say about this election that was coming up prior to this because I already knew that it was a farce. I knew that it was a sham. I knew that it was what it was. I knew it was going to end up the way it ended up. I just can't wait to see what happens and how they're going to explain Arizona. I don't understand how they're going to explain Arizona. Do you guys? I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get how they're going to explain Arizona. I don't. I just don't. They may as well just said, well, let's just table our election until the top of the year because we're not going to be ready then anyway. Arizona's a hot rump mess. The whole place is a hot mess. All I can say is get your chunkles up, save your silver, and get your gold and stack it. Just stack your gold, stack your silver, put your stuff up, get you some food. Just don't even. Too bad we can't just completely turn off, right? Just completely turn off. I have some friends that have already turned off. You can't even reach them anymore. They're just out there in the wilderness now. Can't even get a hold to them. Can't get a hold to them. Living off the fat of the land. No, because they know how. A lot of people don't know how. Yeah, so is Nevada the Truth Warrior. These places are all tripping. Okay? Yep. New slaves. Yep. Shh, Lisa. Daddy's learning. Yep. But did you guys think of it that way? When you consider the people that are already in prison, right? Those people are already in prison. I forgot. I think it was the 13th Amendment. Whichever amendment it was that allows them to still be slaves. Except for being imprisoned. I think it's 13. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong and tell me which one it is. But I think that it's that one. Okay. So let's just say, for example, it is that one. So there's not enough slaves because you're going to end up removing a lot of work here in a minute. You're going to end up removing a lot of work here in a minute. Please help 69XXX Fun go away. Talking about find love on the new dating site. Oh, get your rump out of here. Let me block you from my side. You just blocked. Garbage. You're just garbage. Block you. That's it. There, now you're done. And Sandy got you. He doggy. Well, anyway, you guys, I'm gonna let y'all go. I just been missing you guys so much. I sort of feel like hanging out here. I mean, it's gonna be like, let's just all I'll go cook and I'll come back and we'll still be talking. I really don't have any more to say about this whole circus. I really don't. There's nothing left to say. Hey, but can I talk to you guys about Adios Whoopi? I think Whoopi is going away, right? I think Whoopi's going away. I heard something about Whoopi. Yeah, I think she is. Yeah, I think she's going bye-bye. Whoopi Goldberg? Didn't she say that? Whoopi. Yeah, I think she's leaving. She's such a bully anyway. Oh, she's leaving Twitter. I thought she was leaving the channel or the country or something. Goodbye, good riddance. Who cares? Who cares? Whoopi Goldberg is leaving Twitter over must take over. Scram! You big bullies? All you guys are big bullies. Scram! Bunch of weirdos. If this does not show us exactly whose world this is, I don't know what does. I don't know what shows us. Hey, Leave Desi. Okay? Leave Desi says, LOL. We have plenty of love here in the Lockhart Perspective chat room. It's just not X-rated. Okay? Oh, she's leaving on Twitter. Yeah, that's what I just found. I don't like any of the Elites. The Elites have a problem. They want us all to agree with them. Whoopi Goldberg says that she's quitting Twitter in the wake of Elon Musk's takeover. But that could be, but that she could be convinced to come back if it settles down. Girl, don't nobody want you anyway. Don't nobody want you, boo-boo. Bye. Bye. You still here? I said something earlier to, what's that crazy girl's name who used to be a bartender or whatever? She couldn't have been a bartender. AOC. I think she was more like a waitress, right? She could not have been a bartender. Bartenders are pretty sharp. I think she was a waitress, right? Let me look at my Twitter account and see if maybe they jumped me because of what I said to her. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Oh, here she is. She says it's a recent tweet from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Wait, so if people can pay $8 to get verified, does that mean that strangers can just pay to get into their mentions tab? Because that will be like making following public conversations with journalists, outlets, and others almost impossible to track. IG has the same issue, and it's unusable in that regard. Oops. This is what I said to her. Where is it? It's not there. Let me go over here and check. Let me see. Doesn't let me go in. How do I just jump into my account? Kooky, isn't it? Can we just get into the account, dude? She's pizza. Is it just me or is some of this stuff kooky? Oh, just hit the word home. So this is what I said to her. That's not me. Lord have mercy. What's wrong with these people? Here it is. This is what I said to her. Oh, somebody must have zapped it. Yeah, they zapped it. Did they zap it? I think they zapped it. Tweets and replies. Maybe this is it. There she is. Here's what I told her. I said, yep, the strangers, as you said it. Folk like former bartenders and waitresses. Fancy that. Anyway, getting back over here to this thing. What is this? Yep. If it settles down. The leading co-host. See how my brain works? I'm like a ferret. It was shiny. I just had to go over there to Twitter. The View shared her decision with the show's audience on Monday and tweeted a goodbye message shortly thereafter. To everyone, thanks for everything. Until we meet again, love, whoop, the comedian and pundit wrote. During her on-air remarks, Goldberg, who has tweeted only once every several weeks recently, said that she's leaving the platform because she is so uncomfortable with the proposed changes to content moderation policies rolled out by Musk. The billionaire, ahead of Tesla and SpaceX, had been critical of Twitter's policy and business model before his purchase of the company, saying that he intends to reinstate accounts previously banned for posts. Yeah, Twitter had deemed harmful. Musk drew criticism before his purchase of the platform with social media posts of his own, some of which contain anti-Semitic tropes or other information. Goldberg is the latest in a slew of celebrities and media personalities who said that they have planned to leave Twitter. We still ready for them to leave from the 2016 election. They stayed. They liars, all of them, just liars, just a bunch of liars. Because we were waiting for y'all to get on up out of here. You said you was going out the country if the Mr. Naranga won, and you're still here. The orange man won, and you're still here, a bunch of liars. You fit. You just fit. So, quote, I'm getting off. I just feel like it's so messy. And I'm tired of having had certain types of attitudes blocked, and now they're back. Because if you don't agree with me, then you need to be out of here. I believe that you should be able to delete as many infants as you want to. You don't want that infant, you should be able to delete it. And I don't want nobody to tell me that it's wrong, even though she's ancient. Uterus ain't been used in over 40 years. but she still wants to get involved in the conversation about Roe v. Wade. Yeah, she does. Old tired self. Spinster. Is she a spinster? I can't imagine she allows somebody to roll around on her or anybody else that would want to roll around on top of her. Is she married? Anyway, she says, I'm going to get out. And if it settles down and I feel more comfortable, then maybe I'll come back. Well, we ain't gonna miss you, whoopsters. We ain't gonna miss you, whoopsters. The whoopsters. The whoopsters. We ain't gonna miss you. You can go on, get on. We ain't gonna miss you. None of us are gonna miss you. She used to be your fave when you were just a wee girl. She used to be good. But, yeah, no. Yeah. All right, you guys, we up out of here. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. I want to tell you, I appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out. For us asking the question about the midterms. Was it all that you expected or was it more? Was it less? Did you know what was going to happen? What's going to happen in the next couple of years? You guys, everybody put on your spidey senses, won't you? Pull out the old spidey senses, won't you? And tell us what's going to happen next, because we already know how to read. We know how to read their propaganda. We already know what's shaking. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. All right, you guys. I love each and every one of you guys. Y'all continue to have a super duper day. Please join us tomorrow. Yes, I need you guys to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a panel discussion. And we are going to discuss, what does it mean, husbands? Love your wives. What does that mean? What doesn't it mean? We're going to talk about that tomorrow on the Lockhart Perspective. And if it appears that you guys all go over there and give me a thumbs up now for that program that's going to come up tomorrow, if I get at least 25 thumbs up for that show tomorrow, I will pull it and bring it over here. Okay? If you all go over there right now and give that show on the Lockhart Perspective, the upcoming live, a thumbs up. The show for tomorrow. Husbands, love your wives. What does that mean? If you go over there and hit that thumbs up right now, and I go and I see that I've got at least 25 thumbs up, I'll pull it and we'll bring it over here. The entire panel, all of them, really good guests, really, really sharp guests. So if you guys do that, I'll pull it and it'll be over here on Headlines with a Voice. Okay? Also, we are about to merge. It has been over 1 year, and we are about to merge both channels. So that is something that we will have a discussion with the members of both channels. And I'll let you guys know exactly how that's going to go. But it'll all be the same company as it is now. In the back, you guys don't see it, but it's all one company now, and it has been for about a year now. Okay, because it's November. But we're going to have to streamline. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Remember what we always say on any Felicia Lockhart Group publications, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. You guys take care of yourselves first, and then I want you to turn around and take care of somebody else, because without you, nobody else is going to be around anyway. Got to have you so that they're taken care of. And until you and I see each other again, continue to be blessed. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Helping